Shalom. Before I start off this lesson, I'd like to first and foremost, as always, give all honor, glory, and praise to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Kakudash. Double honor to our venerated apostles and elders, great millstone, taught us truth and well. And peace and blessings to the elect tabernacle of David, which have been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Salaki. All right, I'm the brother Shamari back with another lesson. And as you've seen, okay, they're talking about this new outbreak, all right, hantavirus, okay? And the way they're kind of putting this in the media is reminiscent of what happened just a few years ago, okay, dealing with the, the whole pandemic, all right, which, we had to speak in code because they'll flag us for medical misinformation like they have in the past, But, those of us in the know, we call it a pandemic because we know it was all a stage, man. All right. You had various lockdowns, restrictions that were imposed behind this whole scamdemic. All right. And it brought things like biometric, verification systems and cashless payment. All right. To the forefront. Okay. And we know what that's all leading up to. All right. You had a lot of people fall under pressure to take the V. All right. And, that led to a lot of adverse effects to where, people were dropping dead from this thing, man. Okay. Getting stuff, getting illnesses, falling under sicknesses that, they couldn't even, they didn't, understand why these things were happening. All right. But you had the men of the Lord. Okay. We told these people what was going to, what these things were going to lead to. All right. And, we've been warning these people that, dealing with the CV, the pandemic. All right. And those, lockdowns, those measures that were seen then, it wasn't over with. Because why? Because these devils were telling you people that it wasn't over. All right. You had Bill Gates talk about a second pandemic. Okay. And he said that the next one would get their attention. All right. Now you had the WHO that, the WHO, they said what? All right. They coined disease X, a placeholder name for something that they knew would come down the line. Why? Because they're the ones that bring the shit, man. All right. Now you look into this hantavirus outbreak. All right. When did you see this thing in the media? May 6th. Right? It came from a cruise vessel. It started with a cruise vessel. The name was in Latin, Hondius, which means hound. All right. In Latin numerals, MV, which, M, all right. The numerical value of M is 100. V is 5. All right. But, these devils like to play like that, man. All right. You deal with the numerical value of MV. It all adds up to 6. 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 5 is 6. What else? All right. This is roughly around 6 years after the shit that happened just a few years ago. Okay. So, these devils like to play like that and dealing with the hantavirus. I was speaking with a brother in my camp, okay, which he brought out that, the word hanta in Japanese means what? A multiplicity of troubles. So Me and this brother were having a talk. Okay, and he said, Lord willing, this is the one that causes chaos, man, which it very well could. All right, and if they really play this thing like the last pandemic, all right, again, it happened just a few years ago. It had a real strain on the economy. All right, now this economy is the world economy at that. All right, dealing with this whole the trade war, the situation over there in the Hormuz, right? The tensions over there in the east that are causing the Red Sea, trade to slow down. That's gonna have an effect on the economy. All right, on the global economy. So looking at the frailty of it now, what would let's just say this is become real quick. Grab a little info here because I actually plug some information in and use ChatGPT to kind of explain how this could lead to just chaos, man. All right, because we're in that time, man. The Lord is having things happen in the earth to fulfill His word, man. To fulfill prophecies concerning these times. All right, Yahushua spoke of pestilences, famines, wars, rumors of wars. So real quick, let me just find this information, man. Slaggy, bear with me. So I asked, how might something like hantavirus being declared a public health emergency of global concern cause a skyrocket of prices? All right. And that's another thing, we've been talking about hyperinflation. Hyperinflation, eventually these food prices would rise to the point that people can't afford nothing no more. Prices on food gonna go up. All right, to the point that people can't afford it, man. And what they're gonna bug out. All right, but it says a declared outbreak of hantavirus becoming a global public health emergency could drive prices upward through several interconnected economic mechanisms, even if the disease itself were geographically limited. All right, and look how they're playing this shit in the media, man. It's like the same bullshit narrative they came with the whole CV. Last time they were saying, it started with bats over there, in China. All right, now they're talking about us as rats. You know what I mean? And when you were seeing this thing in the media, the way they project the numbers, you know what I mean? It was quick. It was like cases found in this part of the world, these states, and just it started to ramp up the cases. Up until they came with them lockdowns. All right, and how fucking coincidental. You got people missing from the cruise or whatever, like they spread out throughout the U.S. now. All right, in a matter of a few days. We see what's going on, man. 2 Corinthians 2:11. All right, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Okay, we know what this is. Something like this is going to lead up to if they play it like that. All right, and they very well could, because remember, you know, um, you know, I don't know if I mentioned it. Bill Gates, said it was going to be another one. He said, what, this one would get, really, get people's attention this time. The WHO said what? They gave a placeholder name, Disease X. All right? For something that they knew would come down the line. So this could very well be it, man. And this could very well be the thing that leads to chaos, man. And remember, the modus operandi is auto ab chaos. They want chaos so they can bring martial law. All right? So it says first would be supply chain disruption. It says if outbreaks affected transportation hubs, warehouses, agricultural regions, or manufacturing centers, labor shortages and quarantines could reduce production and shipping capacity. Modern supply chains are highly just in time, so even modest interruptions can ripple outward and create shortages. Well, how long might this situation in the Hormuz persist? It could lead to what? Supply chain disruptions. So you have this on top of that. What do you think is about to happen, man? Famines are going to be in effect. All right? Famines of biblical proportions. It's going to get bad, man. It's going to get bad. This is a time like never before. This is a time of Jacob's trouble. All right? And everybody's going to be affected. But guess what? The servants of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, they're going to be all right. The Lord is going to feed us. He's going to provide a way for us to escape the troubles that are coming. Lord willing, we be accounted worthy. All right? We be numbered amongst his elect. All right? But it's going to get chaotic, man. The hour of temptation is coming. All right? We're going to be tested, man. But the Lord is going to be with those that trust in him. All right? So it says, second is consumer panic behavior. People bug out, man. People going to start bugging out. You saw that with the whole CV. People buying up, trying to, it's a lot of them, were kind of late on that, but you see how, when crises pop up, things pop up in the media to excite people. All right, they wanna stockpile on food. They wanna buy out, the stores and shit, man. Second is consumer panic behavior. During emergencies, people often begin stockpiling essentials: food, bottled water, medicine, fuel, cleaning supplies, protective gear, even pet food. Sudden demand spikes can empty inventories faster than suppliers can replenish them. Hey, 2 Ezra 6. Suddenly shall the full storehouses be found empty. All right, and the sown places appear unsown. It says, which naturally pushes prices high. Third is financial market reaction. Investors tend to move money into commodities and safe assets during uncertainty. And that's what's ahead, man. Just uncertainty. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty. All right. In these times, you're going to have a lot of people, all right, in a state of panic, in a state of confusion, not knowing what to do, just fear. All right. Scriptures speak on how, men's hearts shall fail them for fear. All right. For seeing those things that are coming upon the world. Right. People are going to lose their fucking minds. You're going to have you're going to have people killing each other, man. And that's written in 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter. How a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. All right, but shall what? Destroy the house with the sword and spoil the goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, for hard times, man. People gonna be bugging. All right, and they're gonna be killing each other. They're gonna be going up in houses and be taking people's shit. All right, and be putting people to death, man, over these essentials, over things that, they need. It says prices for oil, grain, metals, shipping, insurance, and medical products can rise quickly if markets anticipate instability. Speculation itself can magnify inflationary pressure. Another factor is government response. If authorities impose restrictions on travel, trade, farming regions, or ports to contain outbreaks, transportation costs would increase. Emergency spending and stimulus measures could also inject large amounts of money into the economy. And this economy is about to be through, man. All right? This economy is about man, this whole shit is about to tank. All right? Ecclesiastes 12. You know? You're gonna have business closures. Remember that sort of thing was happening during the whole CV. You had these small businesses closing. You had everything shutting down. All right. And this time around, man, it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be a lot worse. None of them businesses are gonna open back up, man. They're gonna have this shit locked down like they had it during China, like them China lockdowns, man. Okay. That's what's coming, man. All right, everything that you see going on in China. Remember, Klaus Schwab said that, said what? China is like a model for the world. When they had, China got a social credit system. All right. So on and so forth. All right. It says agriculture could become especially vulnerable if rodent control campaigns disrupted grain shortage or farming operations. And farmers are already feeling the effects of the economic pressure due to what's going on right now with the whole Strait of Hormuz situation and prices going up. All right. So eventually, yeah, like food prices are gonna soar even higher than what they are now. You know? When you read Revelation 6, the 6th chapter, all right, in the 6th verse, where it speaks about a measure of wheat for a penny, all right, that basically that goes into like a day's wages for bread, all right, and that's how like costly stuff is gonna be very soon, to where people just can't afford it, man. All right, it says. Yes, like I had to do a part 2 because of my storage, but as I was saying, I'm gonna just read that point again. Agriculture could become especially vulnerable if rodent control campaigns disrupted grain storage or farming operations. Since hantaviruses are rodent-borne, any fear around contamination of food infrastructure could affect grain markets and livestock feed chains, indirectly increasing prices for meat, dairy, and processed foods. There's also the psychological component. Once businesses expect higher costs, they often preemptively raise prices. Workers demand higher wages to compensate for risk and inflation. The expectation cycle can become self-reinforcing. Something similar happened globally during the CV. Look at that. Well, lockdowns, labor shortages, shipping bottlenecks, and panic purchasing all contributed to rapid increases in prices across housing, food, vehicles, and energy markets. So you see, like, people, you see the amount of people just on social media, just taking it to YouTube, wherever, and they're bugging, man. They're just going on, they're on rants talking about how they're struggling to make ends meet now. All right, imagine how much more in the coming days, weeks. However, if they really, we gonna see. All right, how fast they push this shit. Okay. But we know that all these talks about Agenda 2030 and them having to cut it short. They want to meet. They want to bring that chip, man. They want to bring it soon. All right. We know it. We know it's right around the corner. Shit, it's already here. It's just they have to mandate it. Okay. The RFID technology, it's here already, man. It exists. Okay. But it's gonna get to the point to where they mandate it. All right. And Revelation 13 and 16. It becomes the what is needed to function within this society, man. All right. Because this whole monetary system is going to change up. The money is going to, become digitized. All right. People are going to be, they're going to bring the UBI. They're going to bring, CBDC, programmable, money. All right. It's going to happen, man. It's going to happen sooner or later. So all these, other camps, leadership of these other camps, they're not winning the people. They're not telling them what it is. They're not, they leaving ambiguity as to what the MOTB is. All right. They're telling you, they're giving you bullshit. Right. They're leaving you confused as to what the MOTB actually is. And the Lord is going to judge these people, man. All right. The Lord is going to put these individuals to shame because it's going to be, look, the elders, beginning with the elders and the elder bishops of GMS, the other apostles and elder bishops on down, who have been telling you what the MOTB truly is. All right. And like it tells you in Ezekiel. All right. When these things come to pass, they shall know that a prophet had been among them. Roughly paraphrasing, Because this thing will be seen in our lifetime, man. All right. It's going to come sooner or later. So it says something similar happened globally during CV-19. All right, I read that. Importantly, it says hantavirus itself is not currently spreading at a scale comparable to CV historically. Most hantavirus infections have remained relatively rare and localized. It says, but in theory, if governments and markets reacted as though it posed major international threat, the economic response alone could trigger major inflationary effects. So we're going to see. All right. We're going to see. But, the way they're pushing this shit in the media is like they're going in the same footsteps of the whole thing that was going on just a couple years ago. All right. So, with that, I'll end it off there. Just blowing the trumpet, man. Just sounding the alarm in the Lord's holy mountain, man. Just, stay watchful. All right. Lord willing, continue to endure and brace for this thing, because things could change very quickly, and we in a time to where the Lord is, moving on his word, man, and making things happen, quickly, readily. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I'll end it off there, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Kalkadash. Double honors to our apostles and others, great millstone taught us truth and rule well, and peace and blessings to the elect. To the next, I say Shalom.